Hey, I'm Tiffany, and this is my channel, Big Check Energy. I want to tell you about a really great tool that is going to help you land more interviews. If you're having trouble with getting calls back and you know you have the experience that you need, this tool is going to do wonders for you. It's normally something I share with people as part of my paid services, but I've decided I'm just going to tell everyone about it because what's the point of keeping the secret to myself? I can't help everyone all the time, so I want to make sure that you are empowered to take control of your professional brand and get the interviews you need to make the money that you want. So, those of you who are familiar already know that I transitioned from being an HR director to an HR compliance specialist. Right now, this video is November 2022. I had to think about what year it was. Lord have mercy. So it's November 2022, just in case my status and position should change at some point in the future. I want you to know when this is being recorded. So on a Thursday, I applied to 2 positions, and let me see what time I applied. So the first one I applied to at 1:09 a.m. because I stay up late. And when I made the decision that I was wanted to take on a different role, I stayed up and I looked for what was perfect for me. So I applied at 1:09 a.m. and then 5 days later, but it was actually 3 business days, I was contacted to schedule an interview. The second position, I applied that same day, but at 11:30 a.m. while I was sitting there getting my oil changed, I stumbled across a position and I was like, this one looks really good too. And then 8 minutes later, I was contacted by the recruiter and scheduled for an interview. So that kind of movement is kind of crazy. Like, yes, I have the skills and experience, but they would have never contacted me if I didn't also have a strong resume. And so the tool that I'm going to share with you in this video is called Jobscan. If you're interested in it, you can click the link below. Before you ask how much is it, you can use it for absolutely free. Now, it is limited if you get the free account where you can have 5 free scans each month. You can also earn additional scans by like reading their newsletter and sharing the email with people. Little things like that they'll ask you to do in order to earn free scans. So the tool again is called Jobscan. Go to the description below and you can click the link and just test it out if you're interested. Now, my whole thing for my business pitch is all about getting people targeted resumes, getting people hired, more interviews, because sometimes when you're searching, you hear crickets, you get nothing. Sometimes your resume is in a bad format. Sometimes you try to pull a trick like paste the job description in the margin. Don't do that. Do not do that. Sometimes you just don't have the experience they're looking for, or you're not articulating what that experience is and how it will benefit that company in your resume. So this tool can help you with all of that. There's no commitment required of you. All you do is sign up either using an email and a password or your LinkedIn account. There are benefits to using your LinkedIn account to sign up. I talk about that if you just keep watching. What if I told you that there is an even easier way to go about optimizing your resume? Well, guess what? There is. The tool I'm referring to is called Jobscan. And trust me, it is going to make your life so much easier. It is a tool that I pay to use each and every month and that I actually use in my job search. And I have seen fantastic results. So let me show you how to use this. I've included a link for you below that you can click on. Once you click that link, you should see this page or a very similar page. You're going to click Optimize My Resume, and then it will take you to the sign-in page. Once you're here, you can either continue with using your LinkedIn account, which I strongly suggest that you do, or you have the option to set up with email and password. I'll show you why continuing with LinkedIn is a great option if you have a LinkedIn page. But for now, go ahead and set it up with either your email and password or your LinkedIn. It's completely up to you. Once you access the system, you should see a page that looks just like this or very similar to this. Now, I have a premium account, so things may look a little bit different, but even with the free account, it should look something very similar to this. What you're going to do is you're going to click New Scan. So you're actually going to drag and drop or upload a copy of your resume, and then we're going to paste over a copy of the job description. So go ahead and click here and upload a copy of your resume. After you upload your resume in Word format, you're then going to copy and paste the job description. Now, when you copy the job description, you're not going to copy all of the text from the website. You simply need to focus on the actual duties and responsibilities and qualifications, the education, information like that. You're not going to go down to the get to know about us or the lengthy paragraphs that are sometimes in the beginning of job ads introducing you to the company. You don't need any of that. So instead, copy the information that actually tells you about the position. And you're going to paste that information in. Once you do that, you can simply hit scan. Don't worry about Power Edit for now. I'll show you that in a minute. What you'll then see is what's called the match rate, which is essentially a score that shows you how well you are matching up to the position. Don't expect to see 100% here. That is not the goal of Jobscan. You do not want 100%. So they tell you to shoot for somewhere between 70 and 80%. That gives you an idea that you're pretty much spot on for what the position is looking for, and you can always make tweaks from there. So starting from top to bottom, you can see that it breaks down some key elements for you. It talks about your searchability. There are different things that you can add in here, like missing information. You can name the scan, put the job title, the company name, and the actual link to the position you're applying for. A lot of times when you input that information, things change and you get more specific feedback related to different areas based on the specific applicant tracking system that company is using. It will also give you other tips and pointers here. It'll talk about your contact information. Of course, I'm using a template, so I did not fill in all the other information and details here. If I did, the score would go up, but I'll show you how to make those types of improvements in just a moment. It talks about the job title match. It's saying that the job title found in the description was not on the resume. What I'm going to point out here is that this is actually incorrect. What happened is I did not paste over the job title when I pasted over the actual job description or job ad. So you can actually just click here and add that specific detail in and it will update. It talks about education match, headings, formatting. It tells you tips about your file type. It'll give you little pointers like this, like if the file name is too long or if it has symbols in there that that particular applicant tracking system doesn't like, it will tell you that as well. But here's where things are really interesting. It actually seeks to break down the hard skills and soft skills based on the job that you've put in. So you'll see a list of the hard skills. These have a high impact on your score. It'll show you the actual word. It will typically tell you whether or not that system reads and picks up on variations. It will also tell you how many times it found that word in your resume. It will also tell you how many times it's in the job description, which is really important for comparison. Of course, if something is important and is in the job description 6 times and you have no mention of it, you'll want to make updates. If you keep going down, you'll see a comparison of the soft skills mentioned in your resume. You'll want to take a look at them. And something I want to point out about soft skills and hard skills is at times you're going to see words that aren't truly skills. It may pick up on verbiage that says something like responsible, right? And it may just be because the job ad itself has the words responsible for or something similar to that in there several times. So think about when we looked at the word cloud and how sometimes you have to go delete some of those words off of there. You do actually have that capability here. You can report a term and say that it's not really supposed to be there, and it helps the system improve over time. It will also break down some other keywords if there are others that it picks up on. And then as you keep going, you'll get some recruiter tips and it'll break down different pieces of information like word count, measurable results, job level match, words to avoid, and references. So things like this, it will give you really good feedback. I'm just going to show you here how this measurable results window looks. It will point out all of the things that you point out that fit into this bucket. Are you giving us metrics? Are you giving us measurable results? So it tries to read that for you. It will also give you feedback on your formatting. So take a look and see if there's anything that you can improve. It will tell you if you're using too much bolding. It will tell you if you're using strange special characters, if there are colors that it doesn't like. Now, you want to make sure that you are considering the fact that this is still a system. This is not a person. So sometimes it will tell you something like you're using too much bolding, but you know that you're not. Right? So just be mindful of that. It still gives you a really good idea of improvements that you can make. It's pointing out margins here. Sometimes it picks up on little weird things like that that are not true. My margins are typically 0.5. There are times where I make adjustments to make something fit nicer on the page, and I might make it 0.4 or something like that. It's going to flag it. So don't let this worry you if it's something small like that. You can take some of those with a grain of salt, but where you really want to place your focus is here in the hard and soft skills. So now you might be wondering, okay, well, what do I do now? I know it's pointed out some issues. I'm missing some words. What do I do? Well, I've got an answer for you. You can either make those updates manually by just looking at the screen and adjusting your Word document, or you can use what is called Power Edit. Let me show you how that works. So over here on the left, you can see that you can upload and rescan if you do make updates to your resume in a manual fashion, or you can click Power Edit, which is what we're going to do now. So with Power Edit, you can see that it has brought up your resume. It looks different from the resume that you actually uploaded. The font is going to be different, and sometimes the formatting can get a little funky. Like you see here, there are dividing lines, and a few other things are off, like the spacing. Don't worry, you can always fix that later. The key thing here is to get the meat of your resume to really match what the position is looking for. So here's what you can do. You see, we have a score of 58% right now. What we can do is come down here to the skills section and start to make adjustments based on what it's telling us we're missing. Remember, I said your skills section is a great way to update your resume and target it. So what I'm going to do is start adding in some of the key terms here that it's telling me I'm missing. So I'm going to start with advocacy. I'm going to add coaching. How about performance management, labor law, and we're going to see what happens. We were at 58%. It is now updating real time and it's recalculating our score. We're now at a 77%. That's a great improvement just by adding in these key terms. So as you can see, making these slight adjustments to your skills section for each and every position will have a huge impact on how your resume performs against the applicant tracking system. And using a tool such as Jobscan will really make things easier for you. So how about we add a few more just to see if we can get our score even higher and see what happens. How about communication? And then because they have communication skills, I'm going to add that as well. It's recalculating. We got to 82% and now we're at 86%, which is incredible because again, the goal is not to get to 100%. As you use the tool, it will tell you that you want to fall somewhere in between 70%, 80% typically. You don't want 100% because it's kind of like, think about it like cheating on the SATs. You don't want to get a perfect score through cheating because then that's kind of a red flag, right? So you just want to be a really good match. You don't necessarily need to be a perfect match. And they also tell you don't shoot for perfection. You just want to shoot for the 70 to 80% range specifically with this tool. Now, other tools may tell you something else or have different parameters, but for Jobscan, that's the way it works. You don't need to shoot for perfection. So what do you do now? Now we're looking at this document. We know it's a little bit different from the way we uploaded it, but here's the thing. Like I mentioned, you can always fix that later. What you do now is you actually hit save or you hit download. For our purposes, we're going to hit download, and then there the document is. When you open the document, you should see all of your changes in the same document. You may see some of that funky change going on, like with these lines, but you can fix it later. You can always fix it later, so don't let that scare you. From here, you'll go ahead and tweak any of the updates that you need to make to the formatting, and then guess what? You should be ready to go. Always proofread your resume. If you need someone to review it, don't be afraid to ask a friend, someone who's a good writer, someone who's good in punctuation, to make sure that your resume is actually up to par. But when it comes to the meat of your resume, if you go through this type of process, you should be pretty much good to go. So using this tool each and every time you submit to a position will greatly change the chances of you being contacted by a recruiter and beating the applicant tracking system. And I really don't want you to think about the applicant tracking system as something you have to beat, but think about it like something you have to make work for you. So by optimizing your resume, using these key areas of impact, using a strong skills section, and using bullet points that show your high impact statements that are tastefully filled with keywords, you'll greatly improve your chances. Now, when you're ready to apply to another position, all you have to do is hit save, and then you can come back to your Jobscan dashboard, or you can simply hit new scan. It will keep a history of your scans depending on what type of account. And then also there's this job tracker feature, which is amazing. So you can keep up with what positions you get invited to interview, which positions reach out to you, which ones don't. Now, another thing I want to point out here is this LinkedIn function. I want you to play around with that because what you can do is actually connect your LinkedIn account and it will do a very similar assessment against the types of positions that you're applying for. That way you can become the type of person who recruiters reach out to and seek out instead of you always having to apply for a position. So I really hope this is helpful for you and that you use this tool moving forward because again, this is available to you for free. You do not have to have a paid account for this to be useful. So what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and set up your account. The link is below, and make adjustments to your resume using the Power Edit function. If you prefer to do it manually and just go to the Word document and make those updates yourself, that's perfectly fine as well. But utilizing the Power Edit function will save you so much time.